see me like this, not naked, obviously just on my top, but you know, people might get confused. Wasn't going to do my makeup today. Doesn't make much difference anyway. If anything, it makes me look worse, so that's really good. I feel like I'm just going to do it and we can have a discussion, because that's how I'm going to start this thing. I'm not even going anywhere, then I've got to take it off. Honestly, I'm the worst girl ever. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. Just in terms of like makeup and things, like I'm just not there with it, you know, as you can tell. I'm not going to show you the products because they're like doused in like foundation and things. And also, don't really know what they do. I mean, it's just mascara and things, so. And this thing that I haven't actually put on my face in ages, I don't even know why it's going on there, but it is now. So, first topic I feel like is quite important. It actually is probably the reason why I have decided to kind of get my arse into gear a little bit and do this whole thing, was my habits and my bad habits that have creeped back into play since being in quarantine. I feel like this is a very like actually serious conversation for me just doing my makeup, but I feel like it's just more of a dressing situation, and sort of recognizing behavior. And for me, I've definitely noticed that since the whole lockdown and isolation things sort of started, it wasn't actually so bad in the beginning, but that was because I was still up in Manchester, which is where I was doing my master's degree, and I was still working, and I kind of still had that routine, and I had things to do, I had things to study for my exams, and it was just more, I still had like structure in my life, and I still like, it was the beginning phases, so it wasn't like it was like it is now. And also, obviously where I live, because I was living in student accommodation, I was just living in my box room. And for me to have stayed in that, like 100%, it was the right decision to come home, regards to my mental health, because not necessarily to do with my eating disorder per se, but Christ, it was more to do with the fact of like, I don't think I would have coped really well being cooped up in my small little room. Obviously I had the luxury of going to work, but obviously it wasn't full-time, it was part-time, and then I would just be in that little room and then be able to go out when I had to do my shopping and things like that. So it was better to come home in that respect, and I think actually I grew a lot from that. Although it's been quite challenging being home, I've grown a lot from that in terms of like actually listening to myself and being like, no, you need to actually put your mental health first, which was a massive step. As much as people may not think it is, it definitely was for me, because normally I like to be independent, and I like to think that I can do things on my own, and but it just wouldn't have been healthy for me to stay there if that was going to be the case. I've definitely found that since the day, you know, the days have gone on, and obviously with uni, so I've still had to do my exams, but it's been, I'm not confident in terms of the outcome of it. Like, I just feel things haven't gone to plan, and things have gone wrong for sure. And I also just feel like I'm just not confident in myself and my degree, and I just feel super, I know everyone's sort of in the same boat in that sense, but I just feel like it's been an absolute write-off, and it's affected me massively. And I'm very much one that likes to keep busy, and because I'm not essentially employed as such at the moment or working, I found it very difficult. So I've still got to write up my final project, so I have got stuff to do, but also I just feel very disheartened recently and just feel a bit like, what am I going to do? Just in that panic mode. And for me, the way I sort of have dealt with things recently is using exercise as almost like a crux to sort of shut things out, and feels like I'm keeping busy and like making myself tired through exercise and overdoing it so I don't feel like I've done nothing and I'm not just sitting around being lazy. But with that, it actually makes me sort of less productive in a way where, because I'm sort of burning myself out over exercise, I'm not obviously putting that brain power to its best use. And I've just sort of, it's more to do with, I guess what I'm trying to explain is that I've sort of using exercise in a negative way at the moment, as opposed to it being a good thing for my mental health. And that's something that needs to be like definitely recognized, because I think it's so easy to fall back into old habits and think that like that's normal and it's okay, but it's not. I've had such like contradicting thoughts in regards to like when I'm doing the exercise and I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this because I'm not actually, I'm doing it because I feel useless, and I feel like I'm worried. Again, it comes back to my weight as well, just feeling like I'm just gonna gain weight and like just feel shit. And it's just like, I don't need to feel like that. And then I get annoyed at myself because I know I don't want to go back to how I used to be, because it was such a huge part of my life. It was my life, and I don't want to go back to being like that in any shape or form. But it feels like it's definitely happening. And I did a post the other day on my Instagram saying about, there was a quote on Instagram that this woman put up, and it was basically saying that pretty much just saying like, obviously there's the massive association to anorexia or an eating disorder being a physical thing, and forgetting about the mental or the psychological side of it. And it's so true in the sense of like, as much as I may be weight restored and look physically healthy, it's not actually the crux or the Achilles heel, shall we say, to the disorder. It's a mental health disorder. And I was just saying the fact of like, as much as I may seem okay or look okay, does definitely not mean to say that I am. And it's sort of like with any condition. I mean, depression's like a perfect example. It's like people say like, you know, this may sound very stereotypical, because obviously it can happen to anyone with any characteristics, but you know, when people say about, oh, you seem really happy, like it's just so scratching the surface as to what's really going on. And that's essentially, I guess, how I've been feeling a little bit recently, and just feeling like falling back into old bad habits, and I don't want to do that. But I feel like I have nothing else. But I'm not, at the same time, I'm not creating anything for myself. So you've got all these like fighting contradictions in your head saying where you are and what you've sort of built up to be, and not getting there, and all sort of like negative thoughts, and then like not rewarding it, but like giving into those thoughts and like staying negative. And like some days are easier than others. It's not always that way, but in the sense of like how it's been, it's not been an enjoyable experience, I can tell you that. Jeez, I was just getting fed up with myself. Can't do anything about the frizz right now, so that is the way it will stay and will have to be. But no, as I was saying, yeah, I just feel like recently where I've just been feeling a bit poo about life and all the uncertainty and things, I feel like I have just been using exercise as a crux, and not in a good way. I feel like it's definitely brought up bad habits and made me think negative, or more negative about my appearance, and like just doing exercise again for the wrong reasons and not feeling good about like doing it. Like I know that when I go to bed I'm always like, oh, I have to get up and do a workout, like I have to, and I just don't want to do it. And I get that obviously a lot of people are like that, but it's different. I can't really explain it very well, but it is a different sort of feeling. It's a have to, because so say someone who's like didn't want to do it the next day just because either they can't be bothered, or they're just not about their life, just like no, and excuses and things like that, or just don't want to. For this, in terms of like not wanting to do it, it's more like I have to do it because if I don't, there's going to be negative consequences, which are very unrealistic negative consequences, like I'm going to gain £100 overnight, or I'm going to gain £100 from like not doing an exercise routine or workout, whatever. Just really extreme guilt and consequences, and it should never really be like that. Like normally if I missed a workout or if I didn't want to do one, I just would get over it, but like obviously when I was ill, it meant so much. Well, I didn't even miss a workout at all, of course I didn't, but like it was just I couldn't do it physically, like miss a workout, again because of like negative association, and I just feel like I've sort of crept back into that, and I'm doing it where like I'm missing meals, and I can see like my body adapting back to what it used to be, in regards to like being malnourished and like metabolism wise. Like I think that's what I'm most like scared of, shall we say. Like my metabolism probably isn't in the best state right now because I've missed meals and like I do that consistently. I don't know what's going on right now, but it just seems like if I'm not using that energy, then I shouldn't fuel my body. But it is absolutely one of the silliest things, and I know it's so silly, and that's the most frustrating thing, because you need calories whether you're exercising or not to just fuel your own body. And I cannot stress it enough to myself and to other people about it, but for me, I just, it's not even like that goes through my head, it's just more of a subconscious thing that I just don't do it, and that's so bad. And it's just like I said, it's just like old things are coming back up, and I want to try and find ways to sort of challenge myself and do better, and not have such bad association to, and it's going to hinder everything in the long run. Like I've said, I don't want to go back to my old ways, and I know I don't want to go back because of how bad it was, and that obviously helps to an extent, but obviously there's something more going on psychologically that needs to be tackled. And so I can imagine a lot of people who are suffering with eating disorders at the moment, a lot of things are coming up and you feel like you haven't progressed, or you feel like you're losing progress. And the fact that you're able to recognize those things says so much more than what you would have been like when you're in like the crux of it, when you didn't acknowledge anything, you ignored it all, and you just sort of let it ride out. And you know, obviously not good things came from that, and I think just to recognize behavior is so significant, and it shows that you've got it in you to like keep going and keep striving forward. And just to recognize those small achievements for yourself, they may be so insignificant to other people, but I think if it makes you feel a certain way, say, and you think, no, like I never would have done that before, that is such a win. And you're not going to have like, you're recovery isn't going to be like a linear thing. It's going to be all over the shop, I'm afraid, but I think with every step you become so much stronger than what you were before, even if you don't realise it. But I think that it's such a, I don't think we like to take credit for what we do ourselves, and I think we downplay our strengths a lot, and we just sort of shrug it off or do whatever. But I think just acknowledging it to yourself, you need to just focus on you and how you're going to become successful in your journey in recovery. And it's going to be a very, very challenging time, and I'm definitely noticing that. Like I said before, like just because I'm weight restored or whatever that means, physically healthy as people say, it's not actually the like biggest part. You know, obviously it is important, it's super important to be like physically healthy, of course it is, and so your organs are functioning properly, you're able to live, and everything's working correctly, of course, like you want that. But like I said, it's just the mental side of things is so missed out in a mental illness, which is crazy when you think about it. And so I think from taking my experiences, there is so much work that needs to be done, and I just so want to strive towards better, and do something about it. And I think it wasn't until probably within the last year or so that I haven't felt that I could be a potential like role model for that sort of thing. And like I said, like I have still really bad days, and it's not something that just goes away. And 100% of course I'm in a better place mentally, even if I am having these negative sort of thoughts that are coming back into play. But it's a different step, and it's a huge step from ignoring it. And this is really hard to actually word, because when you think about it until now, like some may say that I am subconsciously ignoring it because I haven't really done anything about it, but I think I'm trying at least to do something about it now, and before I would just ignore it. And I think that's quite a significant thing. And it's so hard to keep positive within these times, but I think you've just got to take the little wins and let that sort of carry you through a little bit, even if it's just for the day, just taking that and kind of nipping things in the bud before they like go off the rails. But yeah, I've very much got on a tangent here, but I think it's just like I just talk and then see actually what comes out, to be honest, because sometimes I don't realise things like just then. But I think for me, having a support system is so important, and we're a lot more openly talking about it now than we ever have been before, which is so important. And that's why like I actually encourage you to speak to someone during this time, whether it be a close friend, family, even if actually you don't even necessarily talk about what you're going through, just for someone to keep your mind occupied and enjoy someone's company, like have a laugh, like feel good about life. And I think that can do wonders for your mindset. And in terms of that can help you be like, fuck this, like I want to go do my thing, and this is how I'm going to live my life, and I need to change this to be able to do all of this. And like that can make such a difference. But also at the same time, talk to someone about what you're feeling. If you're feeling shit and you're like, look, I'm feeling this certain way, I'm doing old things that I shouldn't be doing, recognizing it is a huge deal, and seeing it from someone else's perspective can actually do wonders, because it makes you think about things from a different perspective. So yeah, I think just to embrace that a little bit more, and this is the time to sort of do that and make people understand your point of view, and understand that mental battle that's going on with inside your head. So encourage it greatly. I haven't done so much actually. I've done it more in terms of, like I said, recognizing my behaviors and sort of being like, and not using people, but like surrounding myself with people that I enjoy, going into things like being myself, and just embracing that sort of side of things and getting happiness from that. Not that it fixes everything, it doesn't, but I think it's allowed me to see what I can accomplish, and just reminds you of, you don't want to go through shit again. Like, and it will happen, like I said, you'll have these little blips in the road, but it can make it so much easier in terms of your recovery to just keep on openly talking about it and see what you can do and talk to more people about it. This is what this is about. Like I said, like, this is a community where, like, we're open to ideas, sharing our own stories, being positive about people's recovery and their process, and just supporting each other, trying new strategies that people may or may not have tried. And I think with that we can build a whole new framework in terms of rehabilitation and actually really focusing on elements that we hadn't been focusing on that much before. And I guess that's what's so nice about community stuff, is that you do see so many different sides of things and different perspectives, and that can grow a community so much and help so many people, especially with mental health. And it can go into so many different areas. It doesn't necessarily have to be anorexia specific or eating disorder specific. I think it can open a lot of doors in so many different ways. And I think as well, getting it from other people who have actually either experienced it themselves or actually been with someone throughout their journey and how it affected them. And that is something that is so significant as well in recovery. Your support system can sometimes be the be all end all, and again, that's sort of what it's about in terms of within the mental health services that we have, the actual support that's there, and using it effectively to actually make an impact, a positive impact on someone's life, and something that's going to stay with them forever, and just, or help at least like reduce relapse rates, something that we can do to help everyone, because everyone deserves to have a good life or like happiness. We all deserve happiness. It's like such a simple thing, but it's so hard to obtain. And I think it's such a sad thing that is taken away from so many people for reasons that are never really understood. But I think it's more about outweighing that to go to the positives outweighing the negatives. And that's what it's sort of all about, changing that ratio, because we all have bad days and sometimes we need them, to be honest, but just establishing that, like, and changing that around so it's more positive is everything. So, see, do you know what? Just even talk about it now, I feel a bit more enlightened today. So there we go. People might be like, shut up, but let's make my day now. I'm going to stop rambling because I have literally gone on for a very long time. But I do hope it's sort of given you some light, or just made you think at least by watching this. Even if it's about my cowlicks and my terrible makeup skills, you know what, it's something for you to go research and like put your mind to. So you know what, whatever, there's got to be positives that come from this. I swear to God, there has to be. But I hope you've enjoyed. I'm sorry that I'm not the best at all this scenery thing. I mean, look at that background, it's utter shite, but blessed to have a house, can't complain. Not my house, parents' house. You see, get nervous, very socially awkward, but it's fine. But I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please give it a huge thumbs up and subscribe, and it really supports the channel. And like I said, I want this community to grow and see how far we can get with this. Again, talk, open to discussions, put them down below. We got I forgot the word, but we're going places, I really hope, and I will get better, because I've got to try. We're all trying in this world, so let's just be positive, be kind, be nice, support each other. So I will see you soon, or tomorrow possibly. whenever I'm going to do it next. But I will see you soon.
For someone
Bye.
like you.